Most people think that once they hit a certain number, everything changes. The income maybe goes up to a certain number, the account balance grows to a certain number, and somehow life just feels different. And the thing is, it does feel different in some ways, but the financial habits that actually got them there, those don't really change. I'm Devin Watts with Fallbrook FI, and in this video, I'm going to walk through 6 financial habits that hold true no matter what income level somebody is at. Whether they're just getting started or they're well into building wealth, these are the things that stay constant. The people who have got it right early have a massive advantage. The ones who don't, well, the blind spots become inevitable throughout the years. So let's get into it. The first habit is really 2 things that kind of live together, so bear with me. The first piece, achieving a number does not bring the feeling people think it will. Someone can spend years chasing a milestone like a salary level, a net worth figure, and when they get there, they realize the feeling they expected just is not there, or it fades really fast. So, if the whole financial plan is built around hitting a number and coasting from there, that's a problem. The habit that actually holds up over time is not about chasing a finish line, it's about building something that funds a life they want to live. The second piece ties directly into that. The people who tend to build real wealth stop comparing themselves to their neighbors. They stop doing it consciously or even unconsciously. Somebody can get so caught up in what the people around them are driving, wearing, or living in, and that comparison leads to financial decisions that have nothing to do with their own goals. Lifestyle change, income change, family dynamic change, spending pressures change, and if somebody is always anchoring to what others appear to have, those blind spots become inevitable throughout the years. The habit here is so much simpler to say, but much harder to actually do. And here it is. Define what wealth means to you, not to the Joneses down the street. Now for the second habit. This one boils down to one of the most straightforward separations in personal finance. Those who understand compounding interest earn it. Those who don't pay it. Albert Einstein said that, and he also called compounding interest the 8th wonder of the world. The average savings account right now probably around 0.4%, maybe less, while the high yield savings account out there are probably paying around 3.5%. Meanwhile, the typical credit card is charging something north of 20% interest on balances. So somebody who is not paying attention to this dynamic is essentially funding someone else's wealth building journey while draining their own. And this is not just a low income problem. According to Lending Club, 44% of Americans earning over $100,000 annually report having little or no monthly income left after their expenses. Income alone does not fix this. The habit of understanding which side of interest somebody is on and actively working towards the earning side, that never changes regardless of what the paycheck looks like. The goal here is to be in a position where money is working, not just being consumed by debt. And the third habit, this is by far the most foundational of all 6 habits, and it sounds obvious, but the data says otherwise. The average US personal savings rate was just about 4.6% in early 2025, according to the Bureau of Economic Analysis. That means the typical household is spending 95 cents of every dollar that comes in. I'm sure you've heard the stats of the number of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. Somebody can get caught up focusing too much on making more money when really their issue is spending has simply grown to or exceeding their income. Tax laws change, contribution limits change, family dynamics change, income changes, expenses change. And so if there is no real discipline around living below your income, more money does not fix the problem. Most often, it just makes the problem bigger. This habit is often mistaken for depriving yourself, and that's not really a winning mentality. It's framing that you want to have, framing your most important expenses, and really discerning whether your needs are actually your needs. It's also making the intentional gap between your income and spending, because that gap is where everything else in the list becomes possible. Now, the fourth habit. This one ties directly into habit 3, and it's where the gap between income and spending actually gets put to work. Wealth building is not just about saving money. Yes, that's important, but it's about saving in the right places. There are really three buckets that matter here: tax-free accounts, tax-deferred accounts, and taxable accounts. A Roth IRA grows tax-free, meaning qualified withdrawals in retirement come out without a tax bill. A traditional 401k or similar accounts is tax-deferred, reducing taxable income now, but deferring that tax bill until later. And then a brokerage account. It's a taxable investment account. It offers flexibility that retirement accounts just can't offer. For 2026, the IRS allows up to $7,500 in annual Roth IRA contributions for those under 50 and up to $24,500 in a 401k. Somebody who is not intentionally spreading savings across these buckets is leaving serious tax efficiency on the table, and those inefficiencies compound just like the interest does. Only you don't see the repercussions until years way later down the road. This habit does not change with income level. It just scales. Whether somebody is saving $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month, the principle of being intentional about where the money lands is the same. The fifth habit is the habit that people most often underestimate until it's too late. And this isn't just a scare tactic. It just boils down to the fact that one uninsured event can erase years of disciplined savings. The data here is pretty stark. According to Lerma's 2025 Insurance Barometer study, only 51% of American adults have any life insurance, and roughly 40% of adults, which is close to 100 million people, believe they need more coverage than they currently have. On the disability side, the protection gap is arguably even larger, since a working age adult is statistically more likely to become disabled than die during their working years. Somebody can do everything else right: spend less than they make, save into all the right accounts, understand compounding interest, and one catastrophic event without the right insurance protection can undo most of it. The habit here is not about having every possible insurance policy. It's about honestly identifying the risks that would be financially devastating and make sure those risks are covered. I would say estate planning fits in here too. While it's not an insurance policy, it does take care of planning for something when you're unable to take care of it. If something happened tomorrow and there's no will, no beneficiary designations, no plan for what transfers to who, the people left behind deal with a mess that could have been avoided. And last but not least, this one might be the simplest to explain and the hardest to consistently follow as you build wealth. The habit is straightforward though. If somebody cannot explain why they own something or what they are buying and why, they probably shouldn't own it. And this applies equally to investments and major life purchases. Somebody can get caught up in chasing returns on an asset class they heard about at a party or buying a complex financial product they don't fully understand because someone made it sound compelling. The problem is not that the investment is necessarily bad. The problem is that without understanding it, they cannot make good decisions when things inevitably change. Tax laws, market conditions, the investment landscape changes. And so without a real understanding of what they own, those blind spots can become inevitable. They tend to own boring things they understand deeply: global market diversification, real estate they can evaluate, their own businesses. They're not chasing novelty. They're paying attention to all the right areas and making sure every dollar has a clear reason for being where it is. That habit is by far the most underrated one on this list, and it applies just as much at 500,000 as it does with 5 million. So to pull this all together, it boils down to not spending enough time paying attention to all the right areas. Wealth is not what it looks like from the outside. Interest works for you or against you. Living on less than you make creates the foundation. Saving intentionally into the right accounts builds on it. Protecting against catastrophic risk keeps it from being wiped out. And only owning what you understand keeps the whole thing from falling apart. These 6 habits are by far the most important things people will get right or wrong with their personal finances, no matter what income level they are at. So let me know in the comments if you've been following any of these habits and how your life has changed because of it. And lastly, subscribe to Fallbrook FI for more content like this. This channel is designed to bring clarity to families who don't have time to figure out their finances on their own.